Today on Israel Hayom Insider. Throughout history, the natural world has filled people with awe and wonder. The Bible abounds with references to the natural world, reflecting a time when mankind's direct encounter with nature was an integral part of everyday life. The Biblical Museum of Natural History in Beit Shemesh offers an interactive, hands-on experience on the natural world of the Bible, making the text come alive, unlocking much of its beauty and symbolism, and instilling a deeper appreciation for the land of Israel. With me in the studio, the founder and director of the museum, Rabbi Dr. Natan Slifkin. Hi, Natan.
Hi, nice to be here.
Natan, you are a rabbi. You've got a PhD in Jewish history. What brought you to the subject of natural history? Why are you directing a natural history museum?
Well, I've had a lifelong interest and passion for animals. My parents took me to the zoo when I was 5. Picked me up when I was 12. Ever since then, I've been keeping all kinds of weird and wonderful creatures. And about 25 years ago, I started looking into what does the Bible have to say about the natural world. And I found this incredible wealth of insights of material. I started running different education programs. And then I realized I really wanted to set up my own place, which would provide an opportunity for people to encounter the natural world.
Okay, well, Israel has other natural history museums, other nature museums, science museums. How does a biblical museum differ from that?
Well, our focus is on the animal world of the Bible. So we're not going to be discussing kangaroos or penguins or polar bears or anything like that. It's about the natural history of biblical Israel, which includes quite an astonishing range of animals. You know, for example, here.
What is that?
This is from an animal mentioned in the book of Job called a behemoth. And for a long time, you know, this animal, people didn't know what a behemoth was. Described as a huge animal that lives in the swamps with an enormous mouth. This is the tooth of one of them.
Okay, what do we call it in English?
So it's a hippopotamus.
Ah, okay.
It's a hippopotamus. And today we think of hippos as African animals, because today that's the only place you find them. But back in the biblical period, there were hippos in the land of Israel.
Oh, wow. Very nice. Okay, so when you're dealing with biology, inevitably the subject of evolution comes up. For some people that's a problem. Maybe it conflicts with the text of the Bible, maybe it doesn't, maybe the text is allegorical. How does your museum deal with these kinds of questions?
Well, actually we don't, for two reasons. Number one is that, as I said, it's not a regular natural history museum. It's a museum of biblical natural history. And dinosaurs are not part of biblical natural history. They've been extinct for 65 million years, and they're not discussed in the Bible for the same reason that, you know, kangaroos and penguins are not discussed. It's not part of the world of biblical natural history.
So it doesn't come up.
Right.
But if someone asks about it?
Right. Well, the other issue is that our museum is designed to appeal to people, you know, across the religious spectrum. Sure. Many of whom would not be especially thrilled if we were to put it mildly, if we were to start discussing dinosaurs and evolution. So I do have a book on these topics, The Challenge of Creation, which is available at the museum gift store, but it's not something that we get into in the museum exhibits itself.
Okay, what else have you brought here?
So this is something very interesting. This is actually one of my favorite items from the museum. It was the hardest thing to acquire. Couldn't even get it on eBay. In the end, I eventually managed to get this in Alaska. It is part of a biblical animal, and the animal has a couple of hundred of these. Some of them can even be quite a lot bigger than this.
Really?
And the animal has them, in the vertical position. And one of these was actually just made the news. It was spotted from Israel just last week.
The whale.
The whale, Leviathan.
The blue
Leviathan,
whale. We had a blue whale in the Red Sea near Eilat.
Yes, and in the Mediterranean we have fin whales, sperm whales. So this is from a plankton-eating whale. Right. And you know, the biggest whales, the plankton-eating whales, like the blue whale, like the fin whale that you have in the Mediterranean, they don't have teeth. Instead, they have hundreds of these brushes called baleen that they use to sift out plankton from the water.
Fantastic. Wow.
So this is actually part of a biblical Leviathan.
What kind of whale is it from?
This one is probably from a right whale, because it was from northern Alaska.
Wow. Okay, and what do you have in the cage for us?
So in the cage, see, one of the interesting things we talk about at the museum is about how many animals have been misidentified. For example, in the Bible, you have a creature called in biblical Hebrew a tsav, which in modern Hebrew, tsav refers to a turtle, right? A turtle.
Look at
However, it appears that the biblical tsav is not a turtle. The biblical tsav would appear to be this Euromastix lizard.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's a lovely lizard. He has a nice soft skin with his body and a spiny tail.
We obviously have turtles in Israel, so how do we know that this is the tsav and not this?
So here's the thing. What you'll find in the identifications of animals in the Bible is if you look at the European medieval commentaries like Rashi, they often give very different identifications from the commentators in this part of the world, like Sadia Gaon. Sadia Gaon is the one who identifies it as a Euromastix.
Really?
And that's because different parts of the world have different animals. Right? You look at it in Israelis who come to New York and they're fascinated by the squirrels because they've never seen squirrels in their lives.
Right.
All right, so different parts of the world have different animals. The animals of the Bible are the animals of the land of Israel, which are not the same as the animals of Europe.
Right.
You have a creature called the tsav, which Europeans identify as a deer,
right,
but it's actually a gazelle.
Ah, okay.
What happened was you don't have any gazelles in Europe, so the name tsav got transferred from the gazelle to the deer.
To the deer.
And likewise, you don't have Euromastix lizards in Europe, so the name tsav got transferred to the turtle.
Interesting.
So really, biblical natural history is the history of the Jewish people.
Yeah.
It's a consequence, as a consequence of the exile, we lost familiarity with the animal world of the Bible. Now that we're back in our homeland, what the museum does is gives people an opportunity to become more familiar with the animals of the book.
Fantastic. Wow. And you've got a small museum right now in Beit Shemesh with plans to expand, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we exhibit both live animals and taxidermy animals. The smaller animals are exhibited as live exhibits. The larger ones, the lions, the cheetahs, the bears, the leopards, those are taxidermy. And we've had 40,000 visitors so far, and we're really bursting at the seams with visitors and exhibits. We're moving to a much larger facility in the same area, in the Bet Shemesh area, which is very accessible from the rest of the country. We're hoping to move next year.
Fantastic. Well, Natan, I want to thank you very much and your little friends here. And I want to thank the viewers for continuing to watch us. Send us your feedback. We always like to get it. And we will see you next time.